Hey guys, I wanted to read one of my favorite books. I'm up in my room having rest time. Alright, it's called The Big Orange Splot. And this is one of Finley and my favorite books. And I heard about it from my friend Andy that I went to college with. She said, "Have you never read The Big Orange Splot by Daniel Pinkwater?" And I said no, and so I got it. The Big Orange Splot. Mr. Plumbean lived on a street where all the houses were the same. Mr. Plumbean. I like his mustache. So these are all the houses are the same. He liked it that way. So did everyone else on Mr. Plumbean's street. "This is a neat street," they would say. Then one day, "This is a neat street." One day, a seagull flew over Mr. Plumbean's house. He was carrying a can of bright orange paint. No one knows why. And he dropped the can, no one knows why, right over Mr. Plumbean's house. It made a big orange splot on Mr. Plumbean's house. See it? "Ooh, too bad," everybody said. "Mr. Plumbean will have to paint his house again." "I suppose I will," said Mr. Plumbean, but he didn't paint his house right away. He looked at the big orange splot for a long time, and then he went about his business. The neighbors got tired of seeing the big orange splot. Someone said, "Mr. Plumbean, we wish you'd get around to painting your house." "Okay," said Mr. Plumbean. He got some blue paint, and he got some white paint, and that night he got busy. He painted at night because it was cooler. When the paint was gone, the roof was blue. The walls were white, and the big orange splot was still there. Then he got some more paint. He got red paint, yellow paint, green paint, and purple paint. Okay, so there's Mr. Plumbean painting at night. In the morning, the other people on the street came out of their houses. Their houses were all the same, but Mr. Plumbean's house was like a rainbow. It was like a jungle. It was like an explosion. There was the big orange splot. There were little orange splots. There were stripes. There were pictures of elephants and lions and pretty girls and steam shovels. The people said, "Plumbean has popped his cork, flipped his wig, blown his stack, and dropped his stopper." Then they went away muttering. That day Mr. Plumbean bought carpenter's tools, and that night he built a tower on top of his roof, and he painted a clock on the tower. The next day the people said, "Plumbean has gushed his mush, lost his marbles, and slipped his hawser." They decided they would pretend not to notice. That very night, Mr. Plumbean got a truck full of green things. He planted palm trees, baobabs, thorn bushes, onions, and fragapani. In the morning, he bought a hammock and an alligator. There's his truck full of green things. And you see his hammock and his alligator. When the people came out of their houses, they saw Mr. Plumbean swimming in a hammock between two palm trees. They saw an alligator lying in the grass. Mr. Plumbean was drinking lemonade. Mr. Plumbean has gone too far. This used to be a neat street. Plumbean, what have you done to your house? The people shouted. My house is me, and I am it. My house is where I like to be, and it looks like all of my dreams, said Mr. Plumbean. The people went away. They asked the man who lived next door to Mr. Plumbean to go and have a talk with him. Tell him that we all liked it here before he changed his house. Tell him that his house has to be the same as ours so that we can have a neat street. The man went to see Mr. Plumbean that evening. They sat under the palm trees drinking lemonade. They talked all night long. Early the next morning, the man went out to get lumber and rope and nails and paint. When the people came out of their houses, they saw a red and yellow ship next door to the house of Mr. Plumbean. What have you done to your house? They shouted at the man. It's a close-up of his house. Do you see it looks like a ship? Paint your house to look like a ship. My house is me, and I am it. My house is where I like to be, and it looks like all of my dreams, said the man who had always loved ships. He's just like Plumbean, the people said. He's got bees in his bonnet, bats in his belfry, and knots in his noodle. Then, one by one, they went to see Mr. Plumbean late at night. They would sit under the palm trees and drink lemonade and talk about their dreams. And whenever anybody visited Mr. Plumbean's house, the very next day that person would set about changing his own house to fit his dreams. Finley always says this looks like Mr. Plumbean. Whenever a stranger came to the street of Mr. Plumbean and his neighbors, the stranger would say, "This is not a neat street." Then all the people would say, "Our street is us and we are it. Our street is where we like to be, and it looks like all of our dreams." The end. Isn't that a funny book? Okay, I've got some time to read a new book. Let's see. How about Little Bear? First of all, I'm going to sing my, whoops, my book fell off my bookshelf. Every little cell in my body's happy. Every little cell in my body's fine. Every little cell in my body's happy. Every little cell in my body's fine. I'm so glad every little cell in my body's happy and well. I'm so glad every little cell in my body's happy and well. Every little cell in my body's happy. Every little cell in my body's fine. Every little cell in my body's happy. Every little cell in my body's fine. Alright, and now I'm going to do my finger breathing. I need to do that every time I start wondering what I am going to do next. Because sometimes I just don't know. And sometimes it makes me feel anxious, so I need to remember to breathe. All right, so the first story in Little Bear's visit is when he goes to see his grandparents. To all grandparents and all grandchildren, I'm a grandmother, and I have grandchildren. All right, Grandmother and Grandfather Bear. One day, Little Bear came to visit Grandmother and Grandfather Bear in their little house in the woods. This is something that Little Bear loved to do. I know a lot of you love to go see your grandparents. And your grandparents love to come see you. Sometimes they can't come because we're not supposed to visit people right now. But we can still remember when we used to like it. And we can still talk to them on the phone and have FaceTime with them. This is one time when he went to their house. He liked to look at all the nice things. The pictures, the flowers, and Grandfather's toy goblin that jumped up and down in a jar. Wonder how the book writer got that idea. Do you like to look at all the things at your grandparents' house? Finley used to like to come, still would like to come and look in my button jar and look at all the buttons. He, Little Bear, liked to put on Grandfather's big hat and say, "Look at me." And he liked Grandmother's cooking very much. At our house, it is Grandfather John's cooking is the very best. He had some bread and jam and cake and cookies and milk and honey and an apple. He's sitting at the table with Grandfather Bear. "Have some more," said Grandmother. "Yes, thank you," said Little Bear. "I am not eating too much, am I?" "No, no, no," said his grandmother. Then Grandfather said to Little Bear, "We will have lots of fun today, you and I." "Yes," said Little Bear, "but Father Bear told me not to make you too tired." "Me tired?" said Grandfather. "How can you make me tired? I am never tired." And he got up and did a little dance. "Never tired," he said, and then he sat down. Little Bear laughed and clapped his paws. "Do you know what?" he said to Grandmother and Grandfather. "What?" they asked. "I like it here," said Little Bear, and he gave them a hug. Little Bear and Grandfather had all the fun they could think of, and then Grandfather Bear sat down. "Now we will have a story," said Little Bear. "Good," said Grandfather Bear. "Tell me a story." "No," said Little Bear. "You tell me one." "Then I must have my pipe," said Grandfather. Little Bear ran into the house, got the pipe, and ran back. But Grandfather had fallen asleep in his chair. "Aw," said Little Bear. He He was sad, but not for long. He went looking for Grandmother. He found her in the garden. Could Grandmother tell him a story? Yes, she could. She took Little Bear's paw. Let's go to the summer house, she said, where it's cool. Come on, Little Bear, let's skip. Oh, Grandmother, Little Bear said, how you skip. You skip very nicely too, said Grandmother. They sat down in the summer house, and Little Bear said, tell me a story about Mother Bear when she was a little cub. Tell me the story about Mother Bear and the robin. I like that story. Very well, said Grandmother, and she began. Mother Bear and the Robin. Ah, here's another story. Okay, I'm going to read this one and then I'm going to stop. One spring day, here's Mother Bear when she was a little bear. One spring day, when Mother Bear was little, she found a baby robin in the garden, too little to fly. Do you see the baby robin? Sometimes you put a baby bird back in its nest, and sometimes you don't. You have to ask a grown-up. How sweet you are, she said. Where did you come from? From my nest, said the robin. Where is your nest, little robin? Asked Mother Bear. I think it is up there somewhere, said the bird. No, that was a bluebird's nest. Maybe it's over there, said the robin. That was an oriole's nest. Mother Bear looked all over and could not find the robin's nest. Then you can live with me, she said. You can be my robin. So she took the robin in the house and made a little house for him. Please put me by the window, said the robin. I like to look at the trees and the sky. So Mother Bear put it by the window. Oh, said the robin, it must be fun to fly outside. It will be fun to fly in here too, said Mother Bear. The robin ate and grew and sang, and soon it could fly. It flew all around the house, and that was fun, just as Mother Bear had said. But then one day it was unhappy. Mother Bear asked, Why are you so sad, little robin? I don't know, said the robin. My heart is sad. Sometimes my heart is sad too. Sing a song, said Mother Bear. I cannot, said the robin. Fly around the house, said Mother Bear. I cannot, said the robin. Mother Bear's eyes filled with tears. She took the robin out into the garden. I love you, little robin, she said, but I want you to be happy. Fly away if you wish. You are free. The robin flew far, far up into the blue sky. It sang a high, sweet song. Then it came down again right to Mother Bear. Do not be sad, said the robin. I love you too. I must fly out into the world, but I will come back every year. So Mother Bear kissed the robin and it flew away. And it came back, Grandmother, didn't it? Yes, Little Bear, it came back. And its children came back, and its children's children. And here's one now. Little Bear said, I would have let the robin go free too, Grandmother, just as Mother Bear did. And you know that right now at Mary's school, there is a Mama Robin sitting on her eggs up on the ledge of the deck. She's sitting on her eggs and she's keeping them warm no matter how cold it gets. And soon they'll hatch. I wonder how many there'll be. 2 or 3. All right. I'll see you next time. I love you.